There's something deeply satisfying about biting into a 2x2-inch piece of hot, fried dough. To feel the sugar melting, clinging to your tongue, the sweet taste that mixes with the delicate saltiness of the dough, releasing more flavor with each bite. And to end, a sip of smooth café au lait, brewed from rich, dark coffee, chicory, and a generous supply of milk. All these to crown a meal worthy for any pilgrim to New Orleans. I visited places where the cameras and tourists were, places that the media depict, the places that spell life. That's how I spent my first day in New Orleans.
Well, you just see how little things have changed. It's been, what, 3 years and some change now? Well, almost 3 years.
Coming down here and seeing all these houses that, like, years later, them still destroyed, it's just amazing.
It's the first time I came was a full year after Katrina.
Last year, both Josh and I were here, and it really didn't change much between the time that we left last year to a year later.
And I know that the first 4 times I came down here, every time I came, I felt like nothing was any better than it was.
Driving into the lower 9th Ward, I decide to stop my car and walk around. I focus on each step I take, and I stop at the top of what used to be a porch. I feel an urge to reach out my hand to open a door, but there is no door and there is no porch. I see nothing but empty lots and open fields where houses used to exist, the breeze so unnatural in a city. It has been 3 years since the levees broke here.
We've been planting sunflowers here in New Orleans for the last 3 months to phytoremediate the soil, which means basically to pull out lead and arsenic from the soil, which sunflowers do.
We're with the Elmhurst College Habitat for Humanity, and we are down here with 89 of our students and 5 advisors.
And I had a few other friends from Richmond. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, who came down here and helped me for a week and a half.
This is their spring break. This is what they want to do. They really, really want to help people. And they just spread the word, and it spread like wildfire in our college. And so 89 of our students came down.
Well, we are tilling the soil, and we're setting it up so that we can plant sunflowers to leach the arsenic and lead from the land so that the children aren't exposed. New Orleans had one of the highest exposure rates before Katrina, and so they have one of the highest learning disability rates in the country.
Yeah, we're here with a group from Wellesley as well. So, yeah, we chartered the bus together, and they drove down from Boston. It was like 28 hours.
Yep.
It was cheaper that way.
I begin my week's work by talking to a group of students working on rebuilding a house. They'd driven down from Wisconsin to help in the reconstruction effort. I then talked to Mr. Goodwin, whose 2-story purple house has been recently rebuilt, and now serves as a place of operation for volunteers. His house is one of the few in the 9th Ward. Mr. Goodwin, with his beaming smile, shares with me his story of the hurricane, and the great hope he has for the recovery of the area, thanking God and the volunteers for his joy. This would not have been possible without them, he says. Then he thanks me, even though I have not yet done anything.
People just think that everything just happens and then it's all better. No, it takes years to get back to normal. So people are just...
Chicago don't really realize exactly what's going on down here. I mean, we come down here and we see all these houses that are destroyed, but back in Chicago, no one realizes what it's like.
People who come to New Orleans, so many, the tourists that come, you know, and they can just stay in the French Quarter and not see what's really happening in New Orleans.
So by acting and actually doing something is going to go longer than any paycheck, because people tend to just write money off and say, oh, that's going to help the cause, but actually doing something is going to do way more than any dollar amount.
And if they want, they can spend $30 on a lower 9th Ward tour, which is just absurd to me. I guess it's important that people see it, but it's like, they separate themselves completely from the volunteers who are doing good work here, and just they're like, oh, it's like a spectacle, you know. Look at these people rebuilding this house over here, wow. Or look at these people who live in this house over here, and it's just like, these are these people, and we're us, and we're in this tour van, and it's just this separation. It's just absurd. I don't know. That irks me about people that come to New Orleans. I wish more people would come to work here.
I go to homes of local residents. I go to cafes and grocery stores. I go atop a roof where a group of students are hammering. I go into houses where sheetrock is being placed. The sounds remind me of Walt Whitman's I Hear America Singing, although the professionals are few and far between. However, the music carries on.
Because the government has basically set a rule that if you leave your lawn unkempt long enough, they'll just take it over, because they see it as like a sign that you aren't staying at your property and it's abandoned, and therefore they deserve to take it. And so yeah, I mean, what Common Ground has been doing, a lot of what they've been doing in the Lower Ninth is just mowing people's lawns, and a lot of other organizations just go around mowing people's lawns too, in order that they can keep their property. It's crazy.
I mean, there's always stuff to do. People have different experience too. Like, he's done roofing before. I've done gutting and flood work before. So I mean, everyone has something. There's always something you can do.
Sure. Well, I think we're gonna have to do some roofs now, or some ceilings. But we've been like putting the sheetrock up against the framing, cutting it to size and putting it in.
Even yard work helps.
Yeah, even yard garbage.
It's very good up here in New Orleans. Louisiana has recovered a lot, and you can see lots of people back in their homes.
Yeah, you can. A lot of houses are being fixed and everything.
Oh yeah, and we got our backyard fixed, and now we're just living in it.
French Quarter, but they have the other places. They have all different places, like what is it? Jaegers for good seafood, and Brennan's and Manuel's, and the Palace where you can eat good food too. Just everywhere, just a lot of places, just not just in the French Quarter. The French Quarter has good food and liquor, but they have more of a show down there.
Yes.
Now that's where you get coffee, good coffee, Coffee du Mont.
Coffee du Mont.
Du Mont, yes, yes, that's good coffee there.
I spent my spring break in New Orleans, and I'll continue to go to Café du Monde, because a beignet is worth the while. New Orleans, Louisiana. The Big Easy, the founding city of jazz, the home of the Saints, and a place where I learned a little more about America.